I live for it.
What's the custodial person of he knows everything about the
no idea
obscure
what you're talking
points.
about, Jim.
Who knows? I'd like to thank our sponsor, Goldschlager. So that's what breaks are for. You guys thought it was for the music. So Dan, tell us a little bit.
Lubrication.
I know that on Sport Fighting News you've contributed a couple of articles about the 5 worst decisions, or some of the 5 of the worst decisions.
Well, one of my main robberies in recent UFC history was definitely Tito and Forrest. I mean, at minimum, that was a draw. At minimum, and and talking about what we talked about with the 10-8 earlier, going by what we can all agree on in the room, that a 10-8 is pretty damn difficult. It's got to go to Forrest 2-1, no doubt. I mean, and I break it all down in the article, but first round certainly goes to Tito. I mean, no question. He gets his takedown, he gets his ground and pound. Forrest is working, though. He's never out of the fight. He's never close to being out of the fight. And, he works back to his feet. Tito gets him down again. Okay, great. So that's Tito's round. Second round, Tito shoots, I believe, 6-7 times, not one takedown, nothing. Eats a bunch of punches from Forrest. That's their whole round. We do this for 5 full minutes. Come back in the third round. You got the first 3 minutes, and I broke this down as I got every fight you can think of on DVD. So I'm watching this thing as I'm writing the article. 3 minutes, Forrest is punching him. Tito takes him down, keeps him down for about 45 seconds to a minute. They get back up. So how do you score that? 4 minutes to Forrest and 1 minute to Tito. But Tito's a big deal, and Forrest is the TV star. So who gets the decision? Tito does. Of course he does.
Well, they can continue it, though, this week.
That's right. So now we get Chapter 2 this weekend, and I'm pretty excited. I was hoping to see Brock get back in there with Shane. That was going to be a great fight. Hopefully Brock will make a nice recovery, and Shane will make a nice recovery now that he's having knee surgery too. And, we'll get that fight down the road. But we get a nice follow-up there. I want to see Tito get back in. Of course, his first fight back in the octagon after fishing the waters and finding there's nothing out there, which I love because I'm not a Tito fan at all, if that wasn't clear yet. I'm just never a big fan.
How do you feel about Jenna Jameson?
I don't.
How do you feel about Jenna Jameson?
Yeah. I'm going to leave her alone
Lovely
since
wife.
nobody else
She's
has.
on
I'm going to go ahead and keep my hands off her. So.
I'd like to welcome our special guest, Tito Ortiz.
Come in, bro.
That's the guy Holger testing his blood, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, sorry. We were talking about blood tests earlier. There's a prime reason why you need to be tested.
Well, I watched his excuses last night on...
But he's a pro.
Yeah.
So she, on their little, what is it, breakdown or whatever, the countdown to UFC, and he was talking about, he gave props to Forrest, but he said his back injury and everything.
Tito's always had a million reasons why he didn't win a fight.
Right.
And I mean,
He got back surgery.
He's a solid competitor, right? And as has at least half of the MMA population has had surgery on something or other. As Tim Sylvia had back surgery. Everybody's had back surgery at some point or another. Nate Quarry had his spine fused together. Come talk to me when that puts you down and you come back. Tito had every right. He owned the world. He pulled out when he wanted to. He came and fought when he wanted to. He took Forrest lightly and he paid for it. Now Forrest is better and he gets another crack. But what I'm really excited about is that Tito gets to come back and eat his words. And unfortunately, you get to see how the MMA world gets to work because now he's in the main event. But all that business about going to Elite XC and then Elite XC blows up. And then Strikeforce don't want to give him no money. Affliction was all lined out, and then Affliction blows up. So then he gets to come back to Dana and right back to where he started.
They didn't give him an easy fight to come right back.
No, and damn right. I mean, no reason to. He talks enough shit.
I bet he didn't get the money he wanted either.
No, I'm sure he didn't. And again, though, what the hell has Tito done?
How old is Tito now? He beat up Shamrock a couple dozen times.
Right. Right. Yeah, that originated my favorite defenses in the world. To all the young fighters out there, I really want to point out that blocking elbows with your face is not a solid strategy. Right. So you can look to Ken Shamrock over that, but blocking elbows and punches with your face will result
He's
in
a legend,
stop.
according to him on the countdown.
Damn Skippy, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
Yeah, because Dana kept feeding him. Go look at those fights. Go look at all those fights. I mean, he beat Vladimir Matyushenko in his first fight at 205 when he was not. Yeah, he's a legend because of the UFC hype machine. If you put him in there against guys,
who's the top guy
during the time when the UFC was becoming the UFC.
Yes.
He was the
He was
bad
the big
boy.
deal.
He was kicking people's ass, and they
Right.
couldn't deal with his grounding.
But who was it?
But
who
I'm
was
telling you,
it?
right now,
That's the
if he
thing.
did it today, not a legend.
Right.
But when he did it, he's a legend.
Right, right, and I'm all for it. But the thing is, he wants to tell me he's relevant. So don't, you know, if you want to be relevant and you want to be the legend, then I'm gonna need to see something. And maybe he'll prove me wrong. God bless him if he goes out there and murders. He's like 35. You know, if he goes out there and rips Forrest apart, then God bless him and all the best. But I'm hoping it don't happen. And I'm not a huge Forrest fan. I mean, I could go either way
Let's
with
just
the guy.
hope that the Forrest that in his last fight doesn't show up.
Well, okay, and you know, people want to dog him over
That wasn't as bad.
It wasn't as bad as people wanted to make it out to be. When you put, I want to put anybody in there with Anderson Silva and come running out there, let Anderson bait you into swinging at him. I mean, that's really what happened.
That fight went about 3 minutes, but
Yeah.
3 or 4 minutes before that happened.
Right, right. Anderson baited him.
I watched
go
it
watch the footage. Anderson goes, "Come on!"
The
And
biggest
Forrest
deal
goes,
made
"Okay," and then he
He's
kills
slow.
him. I mean, it's
Forrest was slow.
That
Yeah.
was what Forrest was paid to do.
The
Exactly.
biggest deal was, and what made him look so bad is he got up and
And he
ran
struck.
out like a child.
Right.
Right,
I
he's
mean, he
good.
ran out like somebody embarrassed the hell, and it looked bad. That's what
Right.
made him look
But
bad.
but he's
He
known
would've-
for that.
Right.
Not getting
That's
up and
the
really
thing.
running out. I mean,
Well,
he'd
no, it's
stand
the
up and
same-
shake
no,
your hand.
no,
but I
it's the
never.
same thing he did against Jardine.
Yeah.
Go back, watch that one. Yeah,
He
go
did
back,
the
watch
exact
that one.
same thing against
He
Jardine.
cried in the octagon, which I don't begrudge anybody for that. I wrestled. I've been around the block.
You leave
When you
your
put
heart
your
out
heart
there.
and soul
Yeah.
into something,
No doubt.
then it's gonna break you. That's the way it goes. I am not begrudging anybody for letting a tear flow at a loss. But after that, he got up, shoved everybody off of him, and ran out the cage. That's where it goes wrong. You know, I was lucky enough to have a coach and a dad who slapped me in the face and say, "Why don't you grow the fuck up?" I was like, "Oh, my bad." And I was like 13.
I'm back.
It worked. Oh, I guess I shouldn't do that anymore. My bad. I'm sorry, bud.
13, Forrest was 30. When
Right.
that
It's
happened.
a different thing, but it is what it
Character
is. You
flaw,
know?
so what?
Right. It is what
He
it
also
is.
gets in the ring and fights the baddest
Oh,
dudes in
yeah.
the world.
Exactly, and that's why I gotta respect him. You know,
Yeah,
I couldn't get in there and put up 3 minutes with Anderson. I
I'm
bet
in the ring with Anderson Silva.
But Jordan, that's why Keith Jardine, I mean, I look
Yeah.
at what 7 or 8 of his last fights have been all guys in the top 10.
Right.
You know? I'm like,
Right.
this guy just somebody give him an easy.
That guy
fight.
gets no respect, man.
But-
And I'm not a fan either. I'm not.
No,
I'm
me
really
neither.
not. I'm
He
really
doesn't
not
even
of his
do it in Hell's Have Eyes.
of his fighting style. Of his fighting style, I'm not a fan. But as a human being, I am impressed with him because he does get in there against everybody, anybody you can throw in. Unfortunately, right now they've turned him into a gatekeeper for Rashad,
Right.
which is garbage. Because unfortunately, I can't comment on personal relationships, but it seems like Rashad is a little bit lucky that he's made such good friends with Jardine at this stage in his career because they've refused to fight each other, and the fight makes sense. If Jardine would just get over that hurdle, and I know he's great friends with Jackson, and he took Rashad down there to Jackson, so that's a big deal. But if he could get over that hurdle, he could probably make a hell of a lot more money in the UFC than he is, because I think he could do fine against Rashad. I don't know that he'd I mean, it's another tough fight. He's got the herky-jerky style that you either get or you don't. So
Did Rashad lose this fight in January?
And he looks twice as old as he actually is.
Is that Thiago fight still on with Rashad?
yeah, it's actually the headliner for 108 now that Nogueira
They've had
is
so
out
much
with
bad
staph.
luck.
If you've heard about that, big ups to Nogueira. Hopefully we see him come back. And
Who's Cain?
my boy Cain Velasquez. See that was causing a little inter-camp rift here because I got my beaner in tow, and he's a big Velasquez fan, and of course Nogueira is our godfather.
I'm a fan of Nogueira too. I'm
Right.
definitely a fan of Nogueira.
Who are they going to put with Kane now?
Well, they haven't even talked about it yet. It was
Del Santos, how about that?
well that they've discussed that. That's the big internet
It's the one that
thing.
makes sense.
That's the internet rumor thing.
Kimbo.
But see,
No.
the problem is, Andy, with that fight is that for Dana White, I'm not saying for the fan and for everybody it makes sense, but for Dana White, that's a loser. Because Dos Santos is on a streak and Velasquez is on a streak, and both guys are rockets. If they hold off on that fight, it becomes a main event. If they do it right now, it's just another top contender fight.
Hell, it could end up being an interim championship match.
Well, it could at this point because we've got all this going on, but that's really the question is what happens now. That Mir Congo fight becomes more important, and then I mean you never know. You might see Velasquez take another sleeper and then take on the winner of that for the interim. I mean that's a definitive possibility to see the winner of Mir and Congo come out. Which that's going to be an intriguing matchup too.
If it's at all questionable about Lesnar, I hope they don't call it interim this time.
They will.
Oh, they will.
They're not afraid to do that. They've already proved that.
Right, right, because then they get to come back and do the whole
The ultimate
undisputed thing.
champion
Right,
fight.
right.